Can your fries do this? Can your drink do this? How about your McNuggets? Can they do this? Well, if you grew up in 1987, 1989, 1990, or today in 2026, they very well could have, because these are the McDonald's Changeables. And I have every single one of them. But wait, what are the Changeables? Well, to put it bluntly, they are McDonald's Transformers. They first came out in 1987, likely made to be just as recognizable as the Transformers, which only came out a few years before these did. But while Transformers are robots in disguise, Changeables are Big Macs in disguise. Now, personally for me, Changeables fall into that iconic Happy Meal toy category. I just really love it when McDonald's toys are McDonald's based and aren't promoting the next Pixar movie or K-pop group. Like, remember all the times that we had the McDonaldland characters as toys? And then with these, how silly does it seem to have a cheeseburger that can transform into a robot? And after a 36-year hiatus, McDonald's Changeables are back. So I figured it was time to break out the entire series along with the new set and answer questions like, how do the old ones hold up? How do they compare to the new ones? And does this concept as a whole still hold up? And stick around to the end, because I've actually got a couple other sets I'll show off that aren't Changeables, but definitely fit in with the Changeables family. Oh, and if you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss out on the nostalgia.
They look like McDonald's food you eat, but give them a pull, give them a twist. Hidden inside is something neat, a changeable robot you'll wanna meet.
Oh, the days of jingles on like every commercial. Those were the days. This was the commercial for when Changeables first became available in your Happy Meal back in 1987.
They look like McDonald's food you eat, but give them a pull, give them a twist.
I will say it's interesting that they use the terms pull and twist to transform them. I don't know, like the first thing that comes to mind for me is like flip and... okay, maybe twist is actually a good term for them. Anyway, these all change into a robot. We have a Chicken McNugget, a Big Mac, milkshake, Egg McMuffin, fries, and a Quarter Pounder. Now after this first series, all of these kind of have like a quirky name, but these ones are just item name robot. So let's start changing some of these. We'll start out with the Chicken McNuggets robot. Pull him up and twist his arms, their terms. And really just what a good one to start off this entire series. This guy kind of looks like he would beat you up. Now looking at the Big Mac robot, kind of the same sort of transforming action as the last one. And the Big Mac and fries are kind of the stars of this line in my opinion. And I do kind of wonder like how we came up with the design for these, with the face in particular. Because not to say that they are bad or don't remind me of a robot, I just feel like it's not the first design that like comes to mind. I do like this one though. Then we'll do the milkshake robot. So he kind of splits in half here and actually becomes quite tall in comparison to the rest. I'm not sure I'm really into this one that much. Just kind of seems like a weird design. Then moving on to the Egg McMuffin robot, and I don't really like this one either. I said in the short I made about this one, but there is something about the coloring of it that just makes it look so unappetizing. The robot itself looks pretty good though, which I've always compared it to this Iron Man suit from Iron Man 3. And now for the large fries robot, which like I said, seems like one of the star players from this line. You pull down his legs, flip up his head, and twist out the arms. And this one is just so good. Though again, the faces, again, no hate, it works. I just don't really know how we landed on this. And the last one for this series with the Quarter Pounder robot. Same as the others, lift him up and twist out his arms. And a replica of this one was actually featured in the 40th anniversary Happy Meal toy line in 2019, which featured iconic Happy Meal toys from over the years. And we've actually looked at that set and their older counterparts in another video, so definitely check that out. Though that one changed the cheese that's poking out to some pickles for some reason. And you know, now after seeing all of this first round of Changeables, I gotta say that none of them really disappoint, which is probably why 2 years later in 1999, we got Series 2.
Our urgent mission on Earth is to stop the Munchoids stealing the Happy Meals.
But how?
And McDonald's doubled down on the marketing for these ones, creating a little backstory for them via this animated commercial that they made, showing this new line of robo-changeables in space, planning to come to Earth to defeat the Munchoids who are stealing Happy Meals. Who are the Munchoids? Unknown. This is the only mention of them. So the Changeables plan is to shrink down and duplicate themselves and appear in Happy Meals. Wait. Are we the Munchoids? Are they trying to get in Happy Meals to distract us from eating the Happy Meal? And on the Happy Meal box for these, which there were a few different versions, it could be interpreted that the Robo-Changeables travel along with Ronald and friends to different planets, like the planet of crazy creatures, the planet of roving robots, and the planet of funny faces. And the Changeables would have a specific skill that would help Ronald and friends on each planet, which we'll get to those as we go through them. There are 8 in this line, shaking it up just a bit from the previous one of which being this edition with the Turbo Cone. Told you they're all gonna have some funny names now. But I think the Ice Cream Cone is a great addition, and her skill on Ronald and Friends Travels Through the Galaxy is X-Ray Vision. Then next up is Crypto Cup, which we saw in that little animation. This guy whips open, and then the arms twist out like this. I really like this guy. His skill is that he can travel through water as quickly as he flies. Which, you know, drinking cup, liquids, water, what am I even saying right now? Then here is the Galacta Pounder, obviously being the quarter pounder box, which is a bit different from the last quarter pounder robot, which was literally the burger. But the box opens up to find the robot, and this guy just seems very jolly. And his skill is that he can become invisible when in danger. And next up is Robo Cakes, which is the new breakfast item replacement from the McMuffin, which thank God. And he is just such a fun one. I mean, look at this guy. His skill is that he can speak the language of all living creatures. Probably the most underrated superpower, to be honest. And makes sense because pancakes universally loved. Then we have C2, which is the cheeseburger, and I think has got to be named after the 2 cheeseburger meal, which is my go-to. But he is just a little guy and is a tad different from previous burger changeables as the arms open out instead of forward. And his skill is that he has a magnetic force field that can stop any other machine in its tracks. Then here we have Fry Force, and now you may see why I called the Fries a star player, because they didn't change a thing about this other than the paint job. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Fry Force's skill is that he can generate a force field. Fry Force, force field, get it? And just like Fry Force, the Big Mac did not change either, just a fresh paint job, and he is known as Macro Mac. And he can find powerful sources of energy, which is funny because the Big Mac is probably the biggest source of energy we got in this line. Then we actually have another Fries changeable in this line with Frybot, I guess to emulate the small Fries bag, which I think they've phased out at this point for an even smaller version of the cardboard ones. But this one is funny, giving you an extra movement of the mouth, and he's got his legs that pop out down here too. And the Frybot has radar to detect objects that others can't see. And this is actually the last one from series 2, and I think this series is a big upgrade from the first one. It all just seems a bit more thought out, even down to the repeats with their upgraded paint job. But come the next series, it's all brand new.
McDonald's McDino Changeables!
The McDino Changeables came out in 1990 and obviously all change into a different dinosaur. And since they aren't robots, every single one is new here. And there are definitely some that are the face of this new line, so let's get into it. But I will say there are a couple under 3 toys that I don't have, mainly because they don't actually transform. They are cute though, named the Small Triceratops and the Bronto Cheeseburger. But the first transforming one that we have here is the Tri-Shake-A-Tops, which actually opens up similarly to the first milkshake robot from series 1. Now there isn't much lore in this series compared to the last one, but the newest series does start to cover some ground there, but I'll get to that when we look at those. Now the only thing I've got to say about this one is that it's not emulating a Triceratops. Like, isn't that weird? I find that weird. Then here is the Big Macosaurus Rex, and I think this is one of those ones that people really remember from this line. Maybe it's the fact that it's just a Big Mac, I don't really know. But I did have this one when I was younger, and I am definitely glad to still have one today. Along with the McDino Cone, which I also had when I was younger. Very similar to the Turbo Cone, but now with this friendly blue dinosaur. And this next one I think is a great representation of this entire series and a new food product for this line, the Happy Mealodon. Obviously being the Happy Meal box, and this one also represented the McDino Changeables in that 40th anniversary Happy Meal set that I mentioned earlier. But I think having a Happy Meal box thrown in here makes total sense, and we'll actually see the essence of this one continue with the 2026 line. Now this next one I think is the weirdest looking one, and the name, the Quarter Pounder burger with cheeseosaur. Like, come on, McDonald's, you couldn't think of anything better? But we are back to the burger with this one, after the last series was just the box. But then, as you can see, he folds out the side. Just a really weird one in my opinion. Then the fries finally change big time in this next one with the fry ceratops. Now having you turn it on its side and the head, feet, and tail pop out. It's a funny change, and this guy, he's just funny. Then next we have the McNuggets-osaurus, which is this alligator looking guy. And I'm not sure you noticed, but there actually wasn't a McNuggets one in the last series. So now we have this fresh look, which will continue in the 2026 line as well. And there has been this alleged prototype of the McNuggets-osaurus circulating around online that is actually a fillet of fish. Very interesting. I just kind of wonder like when they made this change, since one is out there in the wild. Though this decision to change it was probably made because I would assume that the McNuggets are more popular than the fillet of fish. But what would its name have been? The Filet-O-Fishosaurus? Then the last one for this line is the Hotcakesodactyl. I think this is a really fun one. The sides spread out and his head pops up. Definitely a big change from the last series. And the McDino Changeables and the Robo Changeables definitely stand their own ground. I'm glad that they took a risk and changed it up majorly when it came time for the Dino Changeables. And I do think a lot of people remember them fondly. But after this line, we wouldn't see the Changeables again. Not entirely sure why, but McDonald's did tend to pivot toward more brand integration with their Happy Meals, so maybe that had something to do with it. But 36 years later,
this means Changeables Happy Meal to reach Earth! Happy Meal power is stronger than ever! We can transform again!
Enter the 2026 McDonald's Changeables. 16 new Changeables that vary from robot to dinosaur. And like I said earlier, adding in a lot more lore to the Changeaverse, as they call it. You see, at the beginning of this little announcement video they have, all the Changeables seem surprised that they are able to transform, and Cap even says that they can transform again, meaning they weren't able to transform before then. And they are able to transform again because Changeables Happy Meals have reached Earth, and Happy Meal power is stronger than ever. And it looks like maybe some of these guys were dormant on a ship that was coming to Earth, and then once it reached Earth, it awoke them and a portal to other planets or dimensions opened up, specifically to a robot world and a dinosaur world, and now other Changeables are able to come to Earth. Or at least that's my interpretation of it all. So half of these Changeables are robots, and the other half are dinosaurs. And now I think it's time to get right into this set with FR13S, or fries. Now while the general mechanic of this one is the same as some of the other original fry robots with the flip out head and the arms on the side here, the robot design is very different, now giving this cutesy face to the robot. And similar to series 2, we do have little blurbs about each one of these. For example, fries can speak 13,000 languages except for French, and he's a French fry, I mean, come on. And then we also have a catchphrase, which his is beep beep beep. Then here is Taurus, which is the play place, and has a similar design as the milkshake Changeables, where it's folded in half, and once open, now towers over everything. You may also notice that a lot of these Changeables take inspiration from the Lil McDonald's toys that we saw last summer. Like here is the Changeables play place next to the Lil McDonald's version. And Taurus's fun fact is that he is the first robot dinosaur vampire hybrid. All right. And his catchphrase is, "I keep telling you, I'm not a vampire." Then next up is Cap. He is the McDonald's hat and headset that the workers wear. Definitely a cute one and one of a kind for this set. In fact, he is so cute that he has won the Intergalactic Cuteness Award 500 times. And his catchphrase is, and while I'm not 100% sure, the voice actor Tara Strong, who voiced characters like Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls and Timmy Turner in The Fairly Odd Parents, thinks she might be the voice of Cap.
Transform again!
Again, not 100% sure, but I think it's her. Then next up we have Furgon, who is a hamburger that now turns into a dinosaur and has a similar style to the C2 cheeseburger from series 2. And maybe I'm missing some sort of pun or something, but some of these names just don't make sense to me. Like Taurus was one of them, and this is definitely another, and just please explain in the comments if you get it. Now Furgon's little tidbit is that he is colorblind. Cool, fun fact, I guess. It's just so random. And the catchphrase is "Bah Hamburger." Then here we probably have my favorite, the Boo Bot, which is one of the Boo Buckets that McDonald's releases around Halloween. This is just so good and has a similar changeable mechanic as the Crypto Cup, where it kind of slides open to reveal the face and then the arms fold out. And its fun fact is that it is the scariest changeable in the whole Changeaverse. And of course the catchphrase, boo. Then here is Terra Bagatoll. Now that is a pun I can get behind. It's the takeout bag, and I actually really like this one. And its fun fact is that it is a former ancient drone delivery robot. Makes sense. And its catchphrase is "Flying ain't easy with a bag this big," which literally sounds like some sort of catchphrase from a 90s TV show. Hey, flying ain't easy with a bag this big. Then here we have XCH4NG3, or Exchange, which is the cash register. I know I probably sound like a broken record, but I really like this one too. The screen flips up and it has arms that come out too. And the register was also featured as a Lil McDonald's toy. And fun fact about Exchange is that he can count to any number. And his catchphrase is... And up next is Vash, which is the 4-piece chicken McNugget and keeps the same style as the McNuggetsosaurus. I like that they keep some of these the same. Definitely adds to the nostalgia of this whole line. Why is he named Vash though? I don't know. But his fun fact is that he has 4 organs, which are McNuggets, and has the catchphrase of "Big McNugget Energy." Then here is D1V4, or Diva, who is a cheeseburger, and we've seen this style some with the Big Mac robots, as well as the Quarter Pounder robot from the first series. He is also a pretty cute one. Fun fact here is that he doesn't blink, and has the catchphrase, "I don't follow the menu, I run it." Now that is some big cheeseburger energy right there. And next we have, get ready, Curtis the Divine, which is the grill. This is a really good one too. We also saw this same style in the Lil McDonald's. The name for him is meh. Assuming they call him that because you wouldn't have any of the McDonald's burgers if it weren't for him. In fact, his fun fact is that he is the prehistoric ruler of the Changeaverse, with the catchphrase, "The ancient text foretold of you enjoying your Happy Meal." Then we have Drinkobius 999, which is the drink machine. And I don't know about you guys, but the McDonald's around me don't let you fill up your own cup anymore, which makes this guy like a little obsolete. But anyway, his head pops up like Curtis's does, and his arms come out and his legs pop out. And we did see a version of this with the Lil McDonald's as well. And his fun fact is that he giggles when pressed, kind of like the Pillsbury Doughboy. And his catchphrase is "Dispense this." And that is definitely one of the better catchphrases that we've heard so far. Then we have Teef Rex, who is probably the other face for this line, along with Cap Cap. And Teef is a Happy Meal and is just like the Happy Mealodon from the previous series. Again, I think it's really great when they keep some of these old designs. And his fun fact is that he has a lisp, which we heard in that promo video.
Changeables Happy Meal, the free shirt!
I just hardly call that a fun fact though. And his catchphrase is "Happy Meal Pow Roar Activate." Then we have Keo, which is the touchscreen kiosk. Definitely an interesting item to add to these, but I will say he looks pretty cool. And we did also see a version in Lil McDonald's, and his fun fact is that he loves it when people push his buttons. Get it? And his catchphrase is "Your click is my command." Coming down to the last few with Sizzlesaurus, who is the fryer, just keeping to himself, making fries. And I actually think that they should have named this guy Curtis the Divine, because the fries at McDonald's just... And we also saw a version of this with the Lil McDonald's, and his fun fact is pink. Yep. And his catchphrase is,
"My varied language does not necessitate a catchphrase."
Then here is Gala, who is the apple bag you get in your Happy Meal. And this one's head spins out and its legs come down, which emulates the Frybot from Series 2. And its fun fact is that it was once the apple on your teacher's desk, with the catchphrase, "Gala load of these apples." Then lastly, we have Minnie, which is the toy display, which the toy displays at my local McDonald's do not look like this. But we saw a version of this with the Lil McDonald's too, and this is just another fun one. And fun fact, used to be a jewelry display case. And catchphrase, "My eyes are up here," because we'll all be looking at the toys. And here they all are, the 2026 line of McDonald's Changeables. Now, what do we think of these? Well, personally, I think the overall character design is pretty fun. The story of them all is fine, doesn't bother me. What does bother me just a little bit is some of the quality of these toys. And I would say that is probably the biggest complaint McDonald's gets on some of its recent toys. And most of them are fine. I just have a few that definitely have some sort of manufacturing issue, and I can just imagine this being an issue for other people too. But again, overall, I would say that I'm a fan. I'm just glad that they are toys that you can mess with, and they are a decent size too. And now with this release, that brings the total amount of McDonald's Changeables to 38, plus those couple under 3 ones. And from these, I gotta say my favorites are probably the large fries robot, C2, the big Machosaurus Rex, McDino Cone, Boobot, Pterodactyl, Diva, Keo, and Sizzlesaurus. Though remember, at the top of the video, I did say I had a couple other sets, let's call them honorable mentions. And these are sets that definitely give off that Changeables aesthetic, but they actually aren't Changeables. First being the Food Fundamental toys from 1993, all being a piece of food with a face on it, not necessarily a McDonald's item, and they fold out to give them some appendages. Here's Otis the sandwich, Millie the milk carton, Ruby the apple, and Slugger the steak. This was a very memorable set, and you can see why it reminds me of some of the Changeables here. Then these are the Food Foolers from 1999. They were all a McDonald's item that could transform into like some spy gear. There's this Chicken McNuggets that could transform into a camera, a Happy Meal that was a computer, these fries that are a phone, and this drink cup that is a signaler that would let you aim a laser. Though perhaps the most changeable-like of all of these are these bad boys. Now these weren't a Happy Meal toy, but rather sold separately at McDonald's in Japan in 2025 for the 30th anniversary of the anime Neo Genesis Evangelion, or however you pronounce it. I don't know a single thing about this show. But here we have 3 different actual sized McDonald's items that all transform into these robots, cyborgs. Come on guys, help me out here. But these are just so epic, and I think really should be considered Changeables. A McDonald's menu item that changes into a robot checks all the boxes for me, and I think we ought to call these Mega Changeables. But again, here are all the official McDonald's Changeables, a Happy Meal set so popular that they brought it back well over 30 years later. And like I said, I think they did a really good job on every series in this line, and the 2026 line is a great nod to these originals. Now let me know what you think of these in the comments, and let me know which ones you have, old or new. And as always, thanks for watching. Hey, flying ain't easy with a bag this big.